Right, and still with parliamentary issues, some news just coming in. Outgoing National Assembly Speaker Baleka Mbete and former Home Affairs Minister will not be taking up their seats in Parliament tomorrow. They've both withdrawn their names from the ANC's candidate list of MPs. Well, to tell us a little bit more and get some reaction on this, the ANC receiving their formal withdrawals. The two did not attend the ANC's caucus. Let's get some analysis now from political analyst at Levi Ndo. Thanks very much for joining us on the program. Your reaction hearing that Baleka Mbete and Malusi Gigaba will not be sitting on the ANC benches in Parliament?
Good afternoon, Peter. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. Well, it came as a shock, but not surprised. Firstly, if we look at Malusi Gigaba, indeed, if it is true that Malusi Gigaba is withdrawn, one would indeed understand there are a lot of reasons why. Remember, Malusi has been under a lot of pressure from his party and the opposition parties in relation to a number of controversial decisions that were taken whilst he was the Minister of Home Affairs and the Minister of State Enterprises. And you'll recall that at the beginning of the Zondo Commission, when a lot of revelations came in, that actually forced him to resign his position as the minister. And my view is that he might have felt that he might be under a lot of pressure when he goes back to Parliament, and he would love to step aside in order to deal with his own personal issues.
All right, we'll talk about Baleka Mbete just now, but I was just wondering, so some people might say that, given the controversy surrounding him being named in state capture inquiries, that maybe this is the right thing to do, not to bring his party into any kind of unnecessary conversation. Or could it simply be that he's probably got wind that he's not going to be a minister, and therefore to go sit as an ordinary member of Parliament might be a step too far down for him?
Indeed, he might have seen this as, if he is not appointed a minister, it would be seen and interpreted by many as a demotion. But also, Peter, there are a lot of leaders in the ANC who are embroiled in controversial issues that relates to corruption. And the view of the ANC is that it's important for these people to step aside so that the name ANC is not branded with these characters. Another area for me would be to say, maybe Malusi took a decision to say, I want to save my party, the ANC. I don't want the ANC to be attacked because of myself, Malusi Gigaba. I'm stepping aside to deal with these issues. When I've been cleaned, then I can be able to come back. How many leaders have been named in the different commissions and they're still moving forward and sit and become public representatives? And I think that's one good example that Malusi Gigaba, for me, has actually set. But those are two issues. Is one, if he just sits there and is not a minister, he is going to see that as a demotion. But number two, he might be doing that in order to put the ANC first, and then he becomes second.
All right. And Baleka Mbete, I guess not a surprise. I mean, if you've been Speaker for that length of time, perhaps once you have been at the highest seat in Parliament, you want to leave on a high.
What else do you think Baleka Mbete would do if she's a public representative? Firstly, Baleka cannot be the President of South Africa in the sixth administration. Baleka Mbete has been the Speaker of Parliament for some time. I don't see Baleka Mbete accepting any position of being a minister either. And I also don't see Baleka Mbete sitting down as an ordinary MP. Another aspect as well will be to look at a personal life. She is not getting younger, and there is a force within the ANC and outside the ANC that says maybe now we need young people to come in and occupy positions of responsibility. And I think maybe that is one other area that Baleka Mbete might have actually considered. Maybe another area will be there should have been discussions within the ANC to say maybe she can be given another responsibility outside government or outside parliament. Maybe that is one other area to consider. But because Baleka is not surrounded by any form of controversy, her situation and that of Malusi Gigaba would obviously be different, and the reasons indeed will be different.
All right, and then perhaps, Lee, if we assume that Malusi Gigaba has done the right thing for the party by withdrawing his name, would that be putting more pressure on the other controversial figures who seem to be marching onwards to Parliament regardless?
In the minds of most people that have just heard that Malusi Gigaba has withdrawn to become a public representative representing the ANC, what comes first are the issues that are surrounding him. The issue of the Zondo Commission, issues that relate to the naturalization of the Gupta family, and all those other issues. And if you listen at the message that has been preached by the ANC in relation to corruption, you would then realize that maybe he's saying, even though I'm not yet found guilty or I'm innocent in the eyes of the law, but being myself going to sit there and become a public representative on behalf of the ANC, it has a negative impact on the party. And for me, that sends a message to those that are in a similar position to Malusi Gigaba to say, why can't you indeed step aside, find a time to cleanse yourself, and when everything else has been sorted, then you can still go back and become a public representative.
All right, and that's where we'll leave it. Livendo, thanks so much indeed for joining us online and sharing your thoughts with us on that breaking news. Former Speaker Baleka Mbete and former Minister Malusi Gigaba will not be returning to Parliament. They've withdrawn their names from the ANC's MP list.